What's up, everybody, and welcome to BioS3 Raw TV. We had a discussion on fixing damaged metabolisms or metabolic damage or whatever you want to call it. And here's the way that I see it. Now, someone posted up in the comment section about how I'm very stupid and I didn't know that protein can be turned into glucose to be used for energy, and protein's not really what's important, and carbohydrates are so important for stimulating the metabolism. And you just proved my point by what you said. Protein can be turned into glucose. So now let's back up for a second. So let's say you have someone that's got a compromised metabolic rate because of the fact that they dieted too hard. Now, wouldn't it make sense? Okay, time out. Let's first of all, what is a carbohydrate? Carbohydrate is a version of stored energy. There is another version of stored energy that your body can also use, and that is called fat. Body fat, dietary fat, whatever. Both of those can be made by the body, which means you can turn a protein into a carb, you can turn a protein into a fat, you can turn a fat into a carb, you can turn a carb into a fat, but you cannot turn a fat and a carb into a protein. You need to ingest protein. It is essential that you ingest protein. Now, that being said, wouldn't this make more sense, understanding those facts, that if you increase the protein to the damaged metabolism, or I want to say compromised metabolism, whatever you want to call it, if you increased the protein and your body used what it needed from the protein, and it was deficient in glucose, and it used what it didn't use for protein, for rebuilding, resynthesis, all that stuff, and turned it into glucose and used it, wouldn't that be like taking in carbs, except your body needs it? What if you took in too many carbs, you didn't need it? What happens then? It gets stored as fat. That's how it works. Now, you can argue the thermic effect of food and this, that. I already said the carbohydrates are like firewood, and your metabolism is like the fire, the campfire. Now, if you're feeding it protein, it's turning into glucose, you are now fixing your metabolism the way your body needs to, as it needs things, as it needs macros. It's not going to turn that protein, extra protein, into carbs or fat if it doesn't need it. So you are essentially increasing your carbs or your glucose by increasing the protein. That's how it works. And now as your metabolism speeds up because you're taking in more protein, so you're rebuilding the muscle that you probably already lost when you dieted it off, if you have more metabolically active tissue on your frame, you now have a faster metabolism. Metabolically active tissue burns more calories than non-metabolically active tissue, which is fat. So how you can say protein is not the key to kicking up your metabolism, you've probably dieted off muscle mass. So by regaining that muscle mass, by feeding the protein, you've regained the muscle mass you've lost. And if you've taken in more protein than your body needs, not only have you regained the muscle you lost, which is now a higher metabolism, but you've turned it into glucose, which also stimulates your metabolism. So it's a 1-2 punch by increasing the protein alone, which doesn't make any sense why you would post that on my comment section saying, and I don't remember who put the comment, I'm not near the computer right now, but said something about, how protein can be turned into glucose, how I'm stupid, and how carbohydrates are the key. Well, I just proved to you, and I'm not sure if you knew that fat could become a carbohydrate and carb could become fat and protein could become both of them. I'm not sure if you knew those facts or not, but you were talking like you knew a whole lot, but you didn't really know how to apply it. This is the bookwork compared to the practical applications. Now, what I just told you is a practical application. How to turn protein into carbohydrates, how to stimulate metabolism, how to get your muscle mass back, as opposed to just feeding carbohydrates. Now, if carbs and fats are just pure stored energy, and your metabolism is slower because you damaged it doing too much cardio, whatever it is, and you feed it carbohydrates, which is stored energy, okay? It's a form of energy, and you're already not dropping weight without those carbs. How do you figure that those carbohydrates, which are stored energy, are going to somehow stimulate your metabolism? It's not like water, where the more water you put in, the more you release. Okay, it doesn't work like that. If you put more carbohydrates in, I see it all the time, these girls with these damaged metabolisms talking about, well, I'm eating 3,000 calories, I'm doing something like that, but they're fat. They're absolutely fat. They may lose a pound a month or some bullshit like that. And they have their gurus telling them about, oh, you're doing great, you're doing great, you're doing great. No, that's bullshit. If you're losing a pound or your weight's staying the same, your metabolism is still screwed up, and you've been working with this guy for 3-4 months, chances are you don't know what the hell's going on, and he don't know what the fuck he's doing either. Or, you also get these you also get these instances where they say, well, You need to, increase the calories in the off season so you have more of a padding to come down when you're dieting. Part of the problem is people are too fat in the off season to begin with. I get girls that walk up to me at 35% body fat, tell me they got 8 weeks to get ready for a show. Well, if you weren't 30% body fat, if you stayed at like 20% or 18%, then you could diet 8 weeks. The problem is they're too fat in general to begin with, and they want miracles worked, and they wind up crash dieting and fucking themselves up. But why would you make someone fatter in the off season to make sure that they have more of a cushion when they diet down, when you could just keep them leaner in the off season and not have to do all that work and kill yourself? That doesn't make any friggin' sense. All the best athletes, all of them, all the best bodybuilders, figure, bikini, all of them, stay within a certain range of their competition weight. They don't get too fat in the off season. Look at Cutler, never out of shape. Kai Green, never out of shape. Ronnie Coleman, as big as he got, never got above like 10% body fat for a 300-something pound frame. Levrone, always in shape. Look at the figure girls like Erin Stern, in shape. These girls are always staying in shape. That's why they're the best in the world, because they're not getting fat and trying to shrink down. Now, some of the ones that did get heavy, we don't see them around anymore. They get heavy, they shrink up. They get heavy, they shrink up. They go back and forth yo-yoing. And eventually, they're just like, I can't take it anymore, and they leave the sport. But the bikini look now is so profitable that these girls have to stay in shape year-round because they're doing the boots at the Arnold and the Olympia. They're getting photo work. They're getting other endorsement work all the time, but they have to be in shape for these events year-round. And some of them have several appearances within a 3 or 4 month span, so there's no time for them to get out of shape. Then when they go to compete, they're in shape. They're already in shape to begin with. So part of the key to not damaging your metabolism is not to start at too high of a body fat percentage to begin with before you even start dieting. If your body fat's 30% and you're getting ready for a competition, you need 16 to 18 weeks to slowly come down so that you don't screw yourself up when you crash dieting. Otherwise, you get that 30% and you get the guy who's like, oh, I'm just holding a little bit of water. No, you're fat. You're 30% body fat, and you give yourself 8 weeks or 6 weeks to get in shape, and you wonder why you screw yourself up. Think about it. Do the math. You're not going to drop 35, 40 pounds in 8 weeks and not do something to yourself. So be aware of what's going on out there, like I always say. Do your homework. See what things are really going on, and think. Think about those things. The fatter you are, the longer it's going to take for you to get down. If you're crash dieting, you're going to fuck yourself up any way you slice it. Stay leaner, and you don't have to kill yourself. BioStreetTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below. www.biostreettraining.com is the blog, and we're out.